Hello, students. Today I will be doing an explanation of Keats's sonnet on first looking into Chapman's Homer. Keats, who is a major poet of the Romantic age, is essentially a poet of beauty. He lived for 26 years only, but his greatest poetry belongs to less than as many months. He was the youngest of the Romantics, and he also actually, Shelley wrote a pastoral elegy on the death of Keats, that is Adonis. Keats declared, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." Keats had rivaled the art of a painter. It is said that painting is dumb poetry. Poetry is speaking painting. And this truth has been illustrated by Keats in his poems, especially in his poem Ode to Autumn. Keats is above all a poet of the beauty. He said that, quote, "I love the principles of beauty in all things," unquote. He has also declared, quote, "Beauty lies in the art of the beholder," unquote. Another quotation by Keats is on beauty, quote, "Beauty is truth and truth beauty," unquote. Keats is known for his sensuousness. His poetry appealed to our senses. His love of beauty expresses itself in its sensuousness. Keats has love of beauty and grace of form which are Greek in quality. The romantic elements in Keats are found both in the choice of the subject and in the manner of treating them. And therefore we say that Keats can be compared to a Greek poet. Now Keats loved Greek poetry, but he did not know the language, and therefore he says that he was far from reading the Greek poetry because of the constraint of language. But then he came across Chapman's translation of Homer's Iliad. Homer is a great poet, a classical poet of the Greek, where he has written one of his famous epic, that is Iliad. Now, here in this poem, on first looking into Chapman's Homer, Keats compares the poets to kings and the poetry, that is literature, to kingdoms. He says, "Much have I travelled in the realms of gold." So here travelled means he has read realms of gold. Realms of gold, that is kingdom of gold. It means literature, English literature. So this is a metaphor where Keats has beautifully compared the kingdom of gold to, English literature to kingdom of gold. And he says that I have traveled means I have read nearly all the literary creations in English literature and many goodly states and kingdoms seen. And the poet claims that he has seen means he has read many goodly states and kingdoms means many works of great English literature. Around many Western islands have I been. So he has travelled around many Western islands. Western island here portrays to English literature, and he says that he has enjoyed reading the great English literature, which bards in fealty to Apollo hold. Bard here symbolizes the poets, fealty means loyalty, and Apollo. Apollo is the sun god and also the god of poetry in Greek literature. So the poet here claims that he has read nearly all the poems which the poets have written in English language. Oft of one wide expanse had I been told that deep-browed Homer ruled as his demesnes. He said that he had been suggested to read Homer. Many times people had suggested him to read Greek literature. Wide expanse here means Greek literature. And the king of Greek literature is the deep-browed, the serious Homer, who wrote the great epic Iliad. And Homer is called as the ruler, as the emperor of this demesne. Demesne here, demesne means Greek literature. So Homer is considered to be the best poet in Greek literature. Yet did I never breathe its pure serene. But the poet says that I never got the chance of traveling in this great kingdom of Greek because he did not know the Greek language, meaning that he did not read, he was not able to enjoy the Greek literature because of his constraint of not knowing the language. Till I heard Chapman speak out loud and bold, and then comes Chapman. Chapman is an Elizabethan poet who has translated Homer's Iliad from Greek language to English language. And then Keats came across Chapman's translation of translation of Homer by Chapman. Chapman, who spoke out loud and bold, means who clearly explained Homer's Iliad in English language. And Keats found himself to be very fortunate to come across this translation, and he enjoyed reading the Iliad by Homer. And then felt I like some watcher of the skies when a new planet swims into his ken. And then the poet compares himself to an astronomer who is watching the skies through his telescope, and suddenly he discovers a new planet. So the thrill, the excitement, the feeling, the unexpressed happiness which the astronomer feels because he has discovered a new planet, same thrill, same excitement, same happiness, same enthusiasm was felt by Keats. He says here, he uses simile and he says, I felt like some watcher of the skies when a new planet swims into his ken. Ken here means the telescope. So when the astronomer who is watching continuously the skies, he watches the planets, he watches the stars, and when he discovers a new planet, and he is absolutely thrilled, he's absolutely excited, happy, he's enthusiastic. The same feeling was experienced by Keats when he read the translation by Chapman of Homer's Iliad. The second comparison is by the stout Cortez. Cortez is the Mexican king. Or with like stout Cortez, when with eagle eyes he stared at the Pacific, and all his men looked at each other with a wild surmise, silent upon a peak in Darien. So here the Mexican king Cortez, who had very sharp eyes, as sharp as eagle, it's a metaphor. He stared at the Pacific. So when Cortez with his army was traveling on the Isthmus of Darien in order to attack, and he saw to his eastern side and he discovered the Pacific Ocean, and he was absolutely stunned, shocked, thrilled, excited along with his men. They looked at each other with a wild surprise. They were so surprised to discover a new sea, a new ocean rather, that they could not express anything, they could not speak anything. They were totally stunned, they were totally shocked, they were totally surprised, and they were absolutely silent. They were so surprised that they could not express their feeling. Similarly, Keats also experienced the same thrill, the same excitement, the same surprise when he read the Chapman's translation of Homer. Thank you.